The time I sent my mother-in-law to jail. If you had told me 5 years ago that I'd one day stand in a courtroom and testify against my mother-in-law, I would have laughed. Back then, I thought I had hit the family jackpot. My husband, Nick, came from a picture-perfect household. His mother, Linda Hartley, was warm, charming, and endlessly generous. She gave great gifts, hosted dazzling holiday dinners, and always wore a tailored smile. But masks crack, and sometimes, what's underneath can ruin lives. It started small. Mysterious charges on our joint account, packages arriving that neither Nick nor I ordered. Then strange texts from Nick's number, out of character things like I'm working late when he was sitting right next to me. At first, I thought I was losing it. Then one day, I got a call from our bank. "Hi, Mrs. Hartley. There's been a flagged attempt to open a line of credit using your name and social security number." My stomach dropped. I hadn't applied for anything, and I never gave out that information. That's when I started paying closer attention. Over the next few weeks, I began to dig. I ordered a copy of my credit report. There were 3 accounts I didn't recognize, all recently opened, all maxed out. I spoke with customer service reps, and each time, the name Linda Hartley came up as a contact or secondary user. I confronted Nick. He looked stunned, genuinely confused. My mom? No? She wouldn't even know how to do something like that. Except, she did. She used to work in finance. She definitely knew. I started gathering everything. Emails, bank records, even security camera footage from a department store that showed her using a card in my name. Nick didn't want to believe it. He begged me to talk to her. So I did. I invited her over for tea. I kept my voice calm. I showed her the folder. Her smile faltered, then disappeared. "What do you want from me?" she asked flatly. "I want the truth." She didn't deny it. Not really, just sighed and said, "You wouldn't understand." Her justification? She was helping us. She needed temporary resources. She was entitled, in her words, because Nick was her son and everything he had was because of her anyway. I didn't yell. I didn't cry. I just said, "You stole from me." She shrugged. Family forgives. I was torn. I could have let it go, written it off, warned her to never do it again. But I kept thinking about what would happen if she did it to someone else. How easily she'd worn her lies like a second skin. And deep down, I knew I would never feel safe again if I let it slide. When I filed the police report, Nick didn't speak to me for 3 days. But on the 4th, he quietly walked into the room and said, "She did this to my aunt once. I was a kid. Everyone swept it under the rug." He helped me pack more evidence into the folder. The courtroom was cold, clinical. Linda sat at the defendant's table, dressed in gray, the charm gone from her face. Her lawyer tried to paint it as a misunderstanding, a moment of desperation. But the evidence was overwhelming. Thousands of dollars stolen, fraud across 3 banks, my name used like a puppet. I testified. I told the truth. I told the judge what she did, how she lied, how she smiled in my face while draining our future behind my back. The day the verdict came down, she didn't look at me, just stared ahead as the judge sentenced her to 18 months. I didn't feel joy. I didn't feel victory. I felt free. Nick and I went to therapy. We nearly divorced, but we didn't. He said I showed him what boundaries looked like, what it meant to stand up even when it hurt. We moved out of state. I changed my name on every account. And for the first time, we started building a life on trust, not illusions. As for Linda, she was released early on probation. We haven't seen her since. She sends cards sometimes. Nick reads them quietly, then tosses them in the bin. People still ask, "How could you send your own mother-in-law to jail?" And I say, I didn't send a mother to jail, I sent a criminal. It had been 13 months. Linda was released on parole early due to good behavior. We knew it was coming, but that didn't make it easier. Nick had stopped mentioning her name. I'd stopped asking. We focused on our lives, on rebuilding trust, on making our home feel like ours. Then one Saturday afternoon, the doorbell rang. I was holding a laundry basket. Nick was fixing the garbage disposal. Neither of us was expecting anyone. When I opened the door, it was like someone had punched the air out of my lungs. Linda. She looked older, paler. Her hair was pulled back too tightly, and she held a paper bag in both hands like it was glued to her fingers. "Hi," she said softly. Nick appeared behind me. He froze. She looked between us. I'm not here to cause trouble. I wanted to say I'm sorry. We let her in. I don't know why. Morbid curiosity? Guilt? Some leftover desire for closure? She sat at the edge of the couch like a guest who wasn't sure she was invited. She placed the bag on the coffee table. I made muffins, she said. I used to bring them over, remember? Nick didn't answer. I've been in counseling, she went on. Court ordered, yes. But I kept going. I needed it. I see now. What I did wasn't just wrong. It was cruel. And I've been cruel for a long time. She looked directly at me. You didn't deserve that. I told myself I was entitled. That it was just money. But I knew what I was doing. I did it because I could. I stayed silent, heart pounding, waiting. I'm not asking for forgiveness, she added. I know I don't have the right. I just wanted you to know I'm trying to be someone I can live with. Nick stood. I believe you're trying, he said. But trying doesn't mean we open the door again. She nodded slowly. I understand. You hurt her, he said, motioning to me. And you hurt me too. You lied, manipulated, stole. That doesn't get erased. Linda's voice cracked. Do I ever get a chance to prove I've changed? Nick looked at me. I spoke carefully. Change doesn't mean we start over. It means you accept the damage you did, without demanding something in return. She wiped her eyes and stood. I'm staying with a friend, outside town. I'll leave my number if either of you ever want to talk. I didn't take it. Nick didn't either. She placed the note next to the muffins. Then she left. We didn't eat the muffins. We didn't call. But we didn't throw the number away either. It sat in a drawer, untouched, like a page from a book we weren't ready to finish reading. Sometimes people show up at your door because they want redemption. Other times, they show up because they want to erase what they've done. I don't know which Linda was. But I do know this. Closure isn't always a neat ending. Sometimes, it's a locked door you choose not to open, even when someone knocks again.